Just in case. I'm like, absolutely 100% just in case. So I was like, a mandated psychiatric evaluation. You know, it's actually, like I said, they poisoned my salad. I was like, whoa. Anyway, yeah, I was like, oh man. If Care Court or just the Los Angeles Superior Court ordered me to be psychologically evaluated, which is like just crazy, insane. Man, I kind of don't even know what else to say. Like, man. Which is actually like very funny because like there's a lot of places hiring now. It's like I just completed a job interview and it went well. They basically, my job interview was a success, and yeah, they're like, we have an appointment for you for Regional Center Los Angeles. Are you gonna accept the services? And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. That's like accepting medical services I'm not going to get. I'm like, hell no. Just a whole bunch of medical services or nurses that work with cartel. I'm like, no. Especially that work with human traffickers. I'm like, no. Absolutely not, no. No. I don't care if they're from Providence. I don't care if they're from Kaiser. I don't care if they're from UCLA. I don't care if they're from USC. I don't care if they pull anything on me. I really don't care. I'm like, why am I going to accept regional Los Angeles Regional Center services? That makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense. It's like, oh yeah, we'll offer you employment. What kind of employment? The kind of employment that impedes on your cognitive ability to actually make a living or to exceed you making a living to the extent that you want to or that's expected of you. I'm like, yeah, I don't want any employment opportunities from a regional center. I'd rather have, a comparable employment opportunity like a butler or something, not some stupid office job. And yes, it is very stupid. Not some stupid office job, not some mundane 9-to-5 job, where I have to deal with like foreigners who just hate America. And that definitely, are complicit or just, engage with these human traffickers in Los Angeles or just in America in general. Which is actually funny because that lady was like, I'd say most likely Korean. But let's say that if she were, Korean or Japanese, right? She wants to take a picture with all my stuff right here. Just make a mockery or just like let their presence be, a form of, subtle intimidation, whatever. It's like if she was Korean, basically in Korea, like prostitution was legal. In fact, like it wasn't moreover the fact that prostitution was legal. Basically, human trafficking was like mandated because the Japanese won, the war against Korea. So basically, all the women had to be sold. Like there was no ifs, buts, and whens, and I guess they're over about it. Like, they just had to be, human trafficked, and it was mandated, which is kind of like how. Care Court or Los Angeles County Superior Court or Regional Center wants to conduct with these Crip or blood gangs or just like African American and non-African American or black to non-black gangs. And then, Caucasian, non-Caucasian gangs or whatever cliques, that gets really complicated. And then, moreover, the fact that she was Asian and taking a picture of me, my belongings and me in front of a home decor store, which that has to do with, me wanting to be a butler or whatnot, I don't have to necessarily be a butler. I could work whatever job I want. It's just that's mainly what I'd want to be. I wouldn't want to do any other form of work. Like, shoot. But yeah, Los Angeles County doesn't want me to have any kind of employment. They don't want me to have any freedom. They don't want me to have any medical freedom. They don't want me to have any, legal representation. They just want to, try to intimidate me wherever I go. And also, for instance, before, Department of Healthcare Services or Department of Mental Health illegally detained me, LAPD, but moreover, Harbor Community Police Station was like letting their presence be known around me before they would unlawfully detain me. So yeah, for like, anywhere from Crip to Blood gangs, Asian, mafias and whatnot, or, Mexican mafias to cartel, all the same. Which is ironic because now I'm seeing that, ICE is starting to deport, Iranians. So I won't be surprised if we're going to start seeing Koreans or Japanese, get deported. And by the way, with Korea, that Korean woman, whether she was Korean or not, and even then if she was, with that Korean woman, taking a picture right here, and it relating to human trafficking and me exposing that, and LAPD wanting to, whistleblower retaliate against me, or illegally surveil me, or stalk me or harass me in public. If she was Japanese, that basically is like the incident pertaining to me, communicating with this girl that lied about her age, and basically everybody in Los Angeles knowing about it, like one way or another. Moreover, and mostly the nurses, knowing about this, because think about it. So there's like, this whole Epstein and Diddy thing, there's human trafficking, right? And so like at the top level, it's usually like youth, who are being trafficked. So basically, if like, I talked to some girl and she's lying about her age, and she, wanted to like basically blackmail me, right? In Japan, the age of consent is like, I don't even know. I think it's like 14, 13, something like that. In Japan, okay? So basically, if she's not like, taking a picture right here to protect cartel or these illegal immigrants or, any kind of like black to non-black or African American and non-African American gangs, or Caucasian, non-Caucasian gangs, whatever, anywhere in between. Basically, it's like pertaining to that. It's pertaining to like the fact that I talked to this girl and she lied about her age, whatever. And then talking about human trafficking, which it's like basically these nurses would rather like retaliate against my medical freedom, or especially retaliate brandishing mental health services, not using mental health services, because they're not using it for any intensive purposes or in goodwill. They're brandishing mental health services. Super simple. It's always funny. Cartel always has a busted up vehicle to like pass by as soon as I start like making real connections on this stuff. So yeah. But yeah, LAPD is going to be hunting me down in about how many days? So today's the I think it's like 3 to 4 days. Basically, July the 2nd is when they want me to have an appointment, for a voluntary program like Care Court, or moreover the fact, Care Court, or just Los Angeles Superior Court says that they don't want to treat me like a criminal, but yet they want to mandate and court order a psychological evaluation on me for no apparent reason other than, a accusation, and I'm going to say accusation, that they want to, give me services and, whatever have you. They're not giving me any services. They're not giving me any resources. They simply want to take my Social Security money. Okay, they want to put me in institutional housing, so that way I'm in a cycle of abuse, by criminals. And I'm in a cycle of basically, we'll call it like institutional deterrence, where basically like an institution is putting you and forcing you in situations where you have to basically do twice or three times amount of work to, get out of that filing, or file, appeals, or, make arrangements to change your situation. So for example, if they put me in like institutional housing with like criminals, or just like very like, I don't know, like superficial, like people that seem like they're, stalking and harassing you, and you can't say anything because you have all the services against you, the police, mental health services, healthcare services, and the courts and judges, which is basically Los Angeles County against one autistic person. Well, then, what are you going to do? You can't do anything because you already have institutional bias and an institutionally biased history against you, and a lot of like illegitimate or biased police encounters that could be branched against you. And yeah, I'm basically being treated like a criminal. To bring it all back together, I'm being treated like a criminal. I'm not being treated like I have a mental health issue, or I have autism and I'm not making the best decisions, and I'm not being diagnosed to a more congruent extent to indicate whether I actually need services or not. No, that's not what's occurring. Gosh. And I'm only making these videos because I've never had actual legal representation. Like, I haven't actually found a lawyer to help me. Why? Because I'm calling people out like Diddy and Epstein. It's very simple. I don't even want to curse. It's that simple. Gosh. You would never be able to identify it because you're not like, in the know about these things, to put it simply. But when you're calling out Diddy and Epstein, and even then, if you recognize like this whole like trafficking operation that's going on in Los Angeles, and knowing how like deep Diddy and Epstein go, and moreover the fact whether you hate Donald Trump and you don't agree with Donald Trump, and whether you like Donald Trump or agree with Donald Trump was in the Epstein files. He was working with Diddy. There, fudge.
That's what I did.
There, very simple. Basically, women get to branch their kids and traffic their kids. Very simple. I was gonna say like kids, like almost like kindergarten, which is like ironic. It's very ironic stuff. Like, I almost like slurred my like word kid into kindergarten, which is like very ironic. And yeah, that's just it. There's nothing else to say. Gosh, one autistic person really whistleblowing this kind of stuff out, and everybody's in on it. Iranians, Pakistanis, Indians, East Asians, from Japanese all the way to Koreans, and Chinese or anywhere in between, Europeans to non-Europeans, whites to non-whites, African Americans to non-African Americans, blacks to non-blacks, Latin and Hispanics, and anywhere in between. And yeah, it's basically everybody. Super simple stuff. It's like very simple. Trust me. When it's hard to trust anybody in the world nowadays, and you can't even like, now you have to have a side eye against your own president. You have to have a side eye against your own president because you're like, hey, Trump, were you in those corridors with Israel or something? You're not selling anybody, are you? Was he not? Get this up. Aside você. Sale. 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 Tassimon. Sale. Tassimon. Sale. Tassimon. Sale. 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 I'm like, I'm glad I call him out. I'm like, from Iran to Israel, I'm like, I'm glad I call him out. To want to branch your kids and you want to sell them, you want to sell their bodies. I'm like, I'll go homeless any day. I'll go homeless any day. I'll lose every single job I ever apply for. I'll lose all the money I could ever make. I'll lose all the family I could ever have. Especially with the police across from here. And also, if you know, like, LAPD's, like, history, like, way beyond, like, them actually being, you know, a part of, like, large gangs or cartels, whatever, you know, I would basically, like, yeah, lose my life, not from my own doing, but by LA County. LA County would slowly want to deteriorate my life. And then, especially medically, because, you know, you could either get denied medical services. That's what happens in America. Very simple. I'm glad that's understood. I'm like, how did nobody understand? I would really like to know. How did nobody understand when that whistleblower for Epstein got hit by a bus? The police, right? The police said she got hit by a bus, and the police were like, yeah, she's not even hurt. Like, what's up with this lady? She's over here calling out Epstein. There's nothing wrong with her. And I'm like, she literally got hit by an entire bus. And then, like, knowing that I've almost got, you know, oxygen forced on me by, you know, Providence Medical Center, LAPD, you know about that, right? Oh, he slammed the door so hard. I was like, yeah, I mean, makes sense, right? It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. Why does LA County want to, you know, psychologically evaluate me? There's no reason to psychologically evaluate anybody that questions the president, because they have, you know, freedom to, you know, have dialogue and, you know, to disagree. And yeah, like, why, when, you know, I'm calling out Diddy and Epstein, and I literally got into this whole conspiracy, basically, and it is very much a conspiracy in Los Angeles, just by literally, you know, being into trans girls, and then finding out that trans girls, there's not a single trans girl, not a single one that's free. I know they're gonna say, yeah, we're not free, we need our trans rights, oh yeah, we need our trans rights. Oh, we need more money for trans rights. It's like, no, that's not what I meant by free. What I meant by free is like, what I meant by free is like, they're not comparably satisfied with any form of materialism or finances that you can provide to them. And then on top of that, right? Let's say I wasn't into, you know, trans individuals, right? Anymore. Whatever. You know, it was completely out of the question. And then I'd pursue, you know, women, just regular women, general women. I know what's going to happen. It's happened every single time, especially because I call out Diddy and Epstein. It happens every time. These pathetic parents, they brandish their underage daughters against me. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Because I call out Diddy Epstein, they're like, yeah, don't give him anybody of age. Give him somebody that's underage so that way we could blackmail him. I'm like, you so pathetic. I was like, so pathetic. I'm like, that's more pathetic than any cartel, any, you know, Middle Eastern terrorist, any Asian mafia to Yakuza. It's just so pathetic. So absolutely pathetic. I was like, gosh, that's so pathetic. I'm like, think about how pathetic that could be in comparison to an autistic person.